we now have equations that have variables on both sides. So you have to make a decision what side you want the variable on. It does not matter to me. So if you are a proponent and you want them like always on the left, you always want them on the left, then I'm completely okay with that. If you want them on the right, I'm okay with that. I'm going to go for the left. So step one, can you simplify? So you look at the left, 5a plus 3. Is there anything you can add together? Absolutely not. On the right, 9a plus 1. Is there anything you can add together? Absolutely not. So step two, we're going to go for adding and subtracting. Now here comes the fun part. This is going to be expanded now. I want the a's on the left, so I have to subtract 9a from both sides because I have to get rid of the ones on the right. So 9a minus 9a is 0. 5a minus 9a is negative 4a plus 3 equals 1. So now I have the a's only on the left. Unfortunately, on the left, I also have a plus 3. So now I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. 3 minus 3 is 0. So that's negative 4a equals 1 minus 3 is negative 2. I have the a's on one side all by themselves and the constants on the other. So now we multiply or divide. So we divide by negative 4. Negative 4 divided by negative 4 is 1. So this is just a equals a negative divided by negative is a positive 2/4, which is 1/2. And we check. So we do 5 times 1/2 plus 3 equals 9 times 1/2 plus 1. 5 times 1/2 is 5/2 plus 3 equals 9 times 1/2 is 9/2 plus 1. So I have to add on the left. So I'm going to put a 1 underneath the 3. So this is 5/2 plus. I have to have a common denominator. So I multiply top and bottom by 2. I put a 1 under the 1. And I want the denominator to be 2. So I multiply the top by 2. So we get 11 halves on the left and 11 halves on the right. It works. You should check every one of them. Now, I'm not just for the sake of time, but you should check every one of them. Okay, step 1, simplify. Look at it. Can you, negative 2x minus 8, can you simplify anything? No, you cannot take 8 away from 2x.
Diana Whiteface with heart-shaped eyes.
Hold a minute, I have to answer that telephone. Alright, so we can't simplify it. So our goal is to get the x's on one side and the variables on, or get the variables on one side, the numbers on the other. So now, just to show you, if I decided I wanted to put the variable on the right side this time, so I just want to show you that it doesn't matter. Instead of subtracting 3x from both sides, I would add 2x to both sides because negative 2x plus 2x cancels. Now, the mistake that's going to be made is that's a minus 8. Which becomes plus negative 8, so this is negative 8 equals 3x plus 2x is 5x plus 7. Now, I want to get rid of the 7. So I subtract 7. Subtract 7. Negative 8 minus 7 is negative 15 equals 5x. We have the x's on one side, the numbers on the other. I can now divide both sides by 5. So x equals negative 3. And we should check. Let's see if I have room here. We're going to check. So that's negative 2 times negative 3 minus 8 equals 3 times negative 3 plus 7. Negative 2 times negative 3 is 6 minus 8 equals 3 times negative 3 is negative 9 plus 7. 6 minus 8 is negative 2. Negative 9 plus 7 is negative 2. It works. Okay. Step 1, simplify. There's nothing to simplify. There's nothing I can do to both sides, whatsoever. So I have to pick some side to get x on. So I'm going to pick the left. That means I look at the right and I decide like I have to subtract 4x from both sides. So when I do 4x minus 4x cancels, 4x minus 4x cancels, I get negative 8 equals negative 11. Whoa. Whoa. There's no variables. When this happens, you have two possible answers. Either all real numbers or no answer. So when the variable disappears, I look at what's written. Negative 8 equals negative 11. That's false. A false statement. And because of that, this thing has no solution. There's no answer to this problem. If that statement had been true, then any real number in the world would have worked. So there's two possible answers. Now for this problem, it's no answer because that is false. All right. Here we go. Step 1, simplify. Okay, let's check it out. So I can't subtract 2 from W, so I have to use the distributive property to multiply. So that's 3 times W minus 3 times 2 equals negative 4x. So 3W minus 6 equals negative 4x. So what side do you want the x? Oh wow, that's W's and X's. Like that's messed up. So we're just going to switch this one to W. Ooh, typographical error. Anyway, so if you're like watching the video, like make sure we switch that. We have to have the same variable for now. Eventually we can do it with more than one, but right now just one variable. So what side do you want the W's on? So I'm going to put them on the left. So I'm going to add 4W to both sides. 3W and 4W is 7W. Minus 6 equals negative 4W plus 4W is 0. I don't want that minus 6, so I add 6 to both sides. So 7W, these cancel. 0 plus 6 is 6. I then multiply or divide, so I divide by 7. So W equals 6/7. If I had room, I'd check, but like I don't have room, so we're going to move on. Okay, here we go. We'll practice with a little multiplying. On this problem, we want to get rid of the fractions. So the common denominator for 4 and 2 is 4. So we're going to take 4 times k over 4 plus 4 times 5 halves equals 4 times negative 2 plus 4 times 3k. We're going to multiply everybody by 4. Here the 4's cancel, so that's k. 2 goes into 4 twice. 2 times 5 is 10. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Plus 4 times 3 is 12k. So there we go. Now, we have simplified. So now we're going to go to the whole adding and subtracting. So you decide what side you want k on. We can do left or right. Just randomly pick, flip a coin, heads, it's right. So we're going to do on the right side this time. So this is 1k, so I'm going to subtract k from both sides. So 10 equals negative 8 plus 12k minus 1k is 11k. I have to get rid of negative 8, so I add 8 to both sides. 10 plus 8 is 18 equals 11k. Now I have to finish this problem, and I ran out of room, so I'm just going to write it over here. 18 equals 11k. I have to divide. It's 11 times k, so I divide by 11. So k equals 18/11. And when I get my solution, I will flip it over. I have to pause this again. We'll see who's calling. Alright, let's see if I can finish this video without any more phone call interruptions. How cute is that? Where were we? Oh, we were solving this little dude. So those are like 18/11s. I'm not going to plug it back in to check, just for the sake of time. You should practice that. Okay, here we go. Number 6. I'm going to multiply through by 6, the common denominator of all the fractions. So that's 6 times b over 3 minus 6 times 5 6, 6 times 2/3 plus 6 times 5b. When I do that, 3 goes into 6 twice, so that becomes 2b, or not to be. Here the 6 cancels. So that's minus 5 equals 3 goes into 6 twice. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 30b. So I have to decide which side I want the variable on. So I have to pick. So just to show you it doesn't matter. I see we did right last time. We'll do left this time. So I have to get rid of the 30b's on the right. I do that by subtraction. So 2b minus 30b is negative 28b minus 5 equals 4, because 30b minus 30b is 0. Now I have to get rid of the minus 5, because I want the b's by themselves. So I'm going to add 5 to both sides. So negative 28b equals 9. Once I do that, I now have to multiply or divide. So I'm going to divide. So negative 28b equals 9. I divide by negative 28. So b equals negative 9/28. That's my answer. And again, I'm not checking just for the sake of time. So here we go. Next. Think about what are you going to do with this problem. Well, I would like to get rid of the fractions. So I'm going to multiply by 7. 7 times 2 sevenths minus 7 times x equals 7 times negative 4 plus 7 times 5x. Here the 7's cancel. 7 times x is minus sine 7x. 7 times negative 4 is negative 28 plus 35x. There it is. One step, no fractions. Now, I have to decide what side I want the variable on. See, last time it was on the left. Let's make it on the right this time. So this is 2 minus 7x. So I'm going to add 7x. The inverse operation. Minus 7x plus positive 7x becomes 0. So that's 2 on the left. Negative 28. 35x plus 7x is 42x. I'm not done adding and subtracting. I have a negative 28 on the right. I don't want it there. I just want x's. So I add the 28. Why? Because negative 28 plus positive 28 is 0. They cancel. On the left I get 30. On the right I have 42x. We now multiply or divide to get rid of the coefficient of x. So we divide by 42. So x equals 30 42nds, which if we divide the top and bottom by 2 is 15/21, which if we divide the top and bottom by 3 becomes 5/7. So if I wanted to simplify it, 5/7 is as simple as I can make it. Alright, here we go. Next problem. Pause the video and do it before me. Okay, here we go. Take negative 2 times 5t and negative 2 times minus 4. So this is 8 minus 10t equals negative 2 times 5t minus negative 2 times 4. So that's 8 minus 10t equals negative 2 times 5t is negative 10t. That was a negative 2 times, so that's minus negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. So decide what side you want the t's on, the left or the right. So I pick, last time it was right, so we'll make it left. So we're going to add 10t to make the ones on the right go away. So those cancel. Minus 10t plus positive 10t, those cancel. You end up with 8 equals minus a negative. Minus a negative is a plus. Whoa! No variable! And the statement is true. That means we have infinite solutions. That means any real number will work. So just to prove it to you, so that means I can pick any number I want. So you pick a number. I don't care what it is. Just pick a number. I'm going to pick 1. Whoops, check blue. So here we go. I'm going to pick the number 1 and plug it in. So 8 minus 10 times 1 equals negative 2 times 5 times 1 minus 4. Let's see. That's 8 minus 10 equals negative 2 times 5 times 1 is 5 minus 4. 8 minus 10 is negative 2. 5 minus 4 is 1, negative 2, it works. So if you pick 3, it would work. If you pick 2, it would work. If you pick negative 9, it would work. If you pick negative 1000.1, it would work. Any number works. Okay, so here we go. These should look familiar because all I did was I just added a variable to the right side. We could multiply this whole thing by 10 to get rid of the decimals. So that's 10 times negative 12 minus 10 times 1.4, 1 4/10, plus 10 times 3r, plus 10 times 7/10 r, plus 10 times 2. So 10 times negative 12 is negative 120, minus 10 times 1 4/10, just move the decimal point over, that becomes minus 14. 10 times 3r becomes 30r, plus 10 times 7/10 becomes 7r, plus 10 times 2 is 20. Now what can we simplify? Well, we can add these two guys together. That's negative 134 plus 30r. Whoops, you know what I did? I messed up and dropped my equality sign here. There was an equal. Right there. Okay, right there. 7r plus 20. Okay, so what side do you want the r on? I pick left. I subtract 7r from both sides. So that's negative 134 plus 30r minus 7r is 23r equals 7r minus 7r cancels equals 20. Now I have to get rid of that negative 134. So that's negative, so I add 134. So 23r equals 20 plus 134 is 154. So now I have to come up here and finish it. I ran out of room. So I have 23r equals 154, so I divide by 23. Divide by 23. So r equals 154 over 23. The only thing that you could do is see if 23 goes in there evenly, because 23 is prime, but that's the answer. I definitely don't want to plug that thing back in. Okay, next problem. Nothing to simplify. What side do you want the n's on? I pick right. So this is minus 6n, so I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to add 6n. So negative 14 minus 6n and 6n cancel equals 8n and 6n is 14n plus 9. We then subtract 9 from both sides. Negative 14 minus 9 is negative 23 equals 14n. Whoops, I forgot to do that in colors. I forgot to do my colors. Whoops. And Daisy, plus 6n, negative 14 equals 14n. Here, we'll just do it over. I forgot to do green for that step. So here we go. I add 6n to both sides. So negative 14 equals 14n plus 9. I subtract 9 from both sides. So negative 23 equals 14n. Now we divide by 14. So n equals negative 23 fourteenths. And that's the answer. Alright, little distributive property for simplifying. So we multiply through by 2. So 2 times 3y is 6y. 2 times 7 is 14. Negative 7 times 3y is negative 21y. Plus negative 7 times 2 is negative 14. So there it is. Decide what side you want the variable on. I decide the left. So I add 21y to both sides. So those cancel. So I get 27y plus 14 equals negative 14. I then want to get rid of the plus 14 on the right, so I subtract 14. So 27y equals negative 28. I then multiply or divide. I divide by 27. So y equals negative 28 27ths. I'm done. Oh, fractions. Let's multiply by 4. So let's see if we can do it. So if it's 4 times negative 1 plus 4 times 2z equals 4 times z over 2 plus 4 times 3/4. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. 4 times 2z is 8z equals 2 goes into 4 twice, so that becomes 2z. Here the 4's cancel, and that's plus 3. We have to decide what side we want the variable on. I pick left, so I subtract 2z from both sides. Those on the right, they cancel. 8z minus 2z is 6z, and I have a negative 4 plus that, and a 3 on the right. I got to get rid of the negative 4, so I add 4 to both sides. 6z equals 7. I now divide by multiply or divide to make the coefficient of the variable into 1. So I divide by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1, so z equals 7, 6. I'm done. Okay. A little simplifying going on here. 4 times 5 is 20c, plus 4 times 1 is 4. 5 times 4 is 20c. 5 times 3 is 15. So when you look at this, you can almost look at it right now and know what's going to happen. When you subtract 20c from both sides, you get 4 equals 15 because these both cancel. That's false, which implies no solution. All right. Here we go. Oh, everything's ready. There's nothing to simplify. We can go right into that whole subtracting 2z from both sides. So before you begin, notice the guy on the left and the guy on the right are identical twins, right? So when you subtract 2z from both sides, they go away, and you end up with negative 1 equals negative 1. That is a true statement, which implies there are infinite solutions. So the answer is all real numbers. All right. Okay, so take a moment and read the word problem before I begin. So, you want to draw a picture. Here's the picture. The width is 9. The length is 3x plus 5. This makes absolutely... Oh, yeah, never mind. Got it. And the perimeter is 8x plus 9. So, they're telling us that the perimeter is 8x plus 12, I mean. So if you wanted to find perimeter, normally you do like length plus width plus length plus width, or 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. Well, in this case, the perimeter is 8x plus 12. The length is 3x plus 5, so that's 3x plus 5. The width is 9. So if we simplify, that's 8x plus 12 equals 2 times 3 is 6x. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 2 times 9 is 18. So let's keep simplifying. So on the right, 10 plus 18 is 28. Now, what we can do is we can start solving. We want x on one side, everything else on the other. So we start by subtracting 6x from both sides. 8x minus 6x is 2x, plus 12 equals 28. We then subtract 12 from both sides, so 2x equals 16. What's the next step? The next step is to divide both sides by 2. I'm out of room, so we have to come over here. So 2 divided by 2 is just 1x equals 16 divided by 2 is 8. So x is 8. I got the answer. No, you don't. That was not the question. The question is, what is the length and perimeter of the rectangle? You just found out that x is 8. To find the length, you have to plug in 8 for the length. 3 times 8 is 24. 24 plus 5 is 29. So the length is 29. What's the perimeter? Well, you got to plug in the value of x. 8 times 8 plus 12. 8 times 8 is 64 plus 12. That's 76. Those are the answers. All right. Do your homework. Did I leave your room? I don't think I did on this one, so you have to insert some papers. Sorry about that. If I left room, I think on one of them I forgot to leave room. So make sure you do your homework. Okay, let's see if I can save this.